All of London, Ontario explained part 3. Hopefully this is the last part, okay? It's gonna be another long video, but what I'm doing is I'm going street by street through this entire city and just explaining it, telling you what I know about that area, how much the houses cost, what the schools are like, all that stuff, so you can figure out if you wanna move to London, and then where in London do you want to move to. If you need help purchasing a property, again, that's what I do for a living, okay? I know this street in and out, so you can feel free to reach out to me. My phone number should be on the screen somewhere. In this section, what we're gonna go over is East London and South East London, okay? So now this area is considered kind of rough. However, I'm going to show you sections of this town that are actually pretty good and affordable, okay? There's some very important things about the schools you need to know in different areas of London that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to go over all that. First, what we're going to do is we're going to pick up where we left off, okay? So we have South London, Wortley Village. That's where we left off before. So we're going to drop right down below that into this big box right here. Commissioners to Southdale, okay? Warncliffe to Wellington, right here. This is an interesting area because you have 3 different school districts in this small little box, okay? One of them is far superior than the others, okay? So we'll start off with this. So right in the middle, obviously, there's a golf course. That's Highland Golf Course. This is the Highland area, and then down here is considered more the Cleardale area. These are the most expensive streets right here. Edwin, Carnegie, okay? Highland Woods, Macintosh. These are by far double or triple what you find in the rest of this area. Most of this area is 700,000 or less, like 90% of it. But this area, your minimum 1.2, at the high end 2 million, okay? The ones that back onto the golf course are gonna be the most expensive. So here's the thing. If we drop a pin on Carnegie right here, Edwin and Carnegie, this is where you have the newer build homes. These are all 5 years old for the most part. Some might be 7 years old or something like that, but they're all pretty new in this area. But these aren't the most expensive. Most of these are gonna sell 1.4, 1.5, of course, depending on the size and all that. Look at how they build new builds. Actually, this one, I was gonna say has stucco, but no, this one's all brick, which is pretty good. But stucco is a popular building material these days because it's more affordable. If I were to drop a pin down here in Highland Woods, what do you notice? They're head-to-toe brick homes. And I love the style of these ones. Like, modern homes are all just one big room, super, uber open concept. These ones, I love the way they were designed. They've got living room, that's formal. You got a den, so you have 2 living rooms on the main floor. Formal dining room, eating kitchen with, another space for a table. They're big, beautiful homes, and they just don't design them like that anymore on nice, wide lots. So, but of course, they're gonna be a pretty penny, these ones. These are built like, I think, late 80s, early 90s. Let me show you, there's one for sale right now. Let me show you, this is listed at 1.75. Now you don't have to spend 1.75 to get a house this style and age, but this is a very expensive street. So let's flip to the inside. So this is what I mean about the old style, right? You walk in, you got this big grand staircase that curls up and over. You got formal living room, okay? Formal dining room, then a den, so 2 living rooms, with a fireplace, by the way. Then you have a big kitchen with another eat-in table. These are great for hosting family, right? You stick the kids at the kids' table, you have the parents at the parents' table, there's lots of room for everybody, and you got seating here as well. Beautiful home. This is the kind of thing you find in this area. Again, probably late 80s, early 90s built. Okay, now we need to talk about the schools before we move on, because remember I said there's 3 school districts in this area. These streets, being more expensive, are shoved into a nicer school district than the other areas around here. So if I go over to the Fraser Institute here, which you can look up yourself, so I believe it's this school here, yeah, Mountsfield. It's a 7.2 rating out of 10, and they cover this area here that we were just looking at, okay? The average for Ontario is 6. and this is a 7.2. So this is an above average school that you get to go to if you're in this area. Now, Mountsfield also covers down over here. So let's jump over the map. I'm going to show you this next. So down here in this Highland area, you get like Rossmore, rather. This area, you're getting homes around, I mean, they're all under 700. You get 650 right now for a detached 2-story, but they're small, okay? So if I drop a pin here, this one actually has a 2-car garage. Most of them that are selling around 6 right now, 625, 650, depending on how nice they are like this one right here. You're talking 15, 16, 1700 square feet, 1-car garage, but it's a detached home. You're not sharing a wall with anyone, and you're going to a decent school as well. So that's really not a bad option. There hasn't been any of these, so this one's clearly larger right here. Or was it just the way Google Street View's cameras are stretching it? It's probably about the same size. But yeah, so you're getting these below 6s right now. And you're going to that nice school, Mountsfield. So this area here and this, Mountsfield School's right around here. So you're all included in that. Now, next we're going to talk about Cleardale, which is all this lower section down here, and then Lockwood Park, which is over here, okay? Cleardale, you get a wide range of homes in here. The most expensive are going to be like Country Club Crescent, Country Club Drive, right over here. And you have some decent 2-stories over here, like this one right here. Like, that's a nice home. And these are going to sell in the 800s right now. Some of those, like this is smaller. It's a ranch. It's going to sell for a lot less. But the good size 2-stories like this, I mean, you could probably get that for 850, maybe 800 grand right now. That's the most expensive that you're going to get down in this area. You get a lot of, on the lowest end, if you get a semi-detached that maybe needs a bit of work, you can probably get it for 450. But I think most of these you're going to be in the 5s and 600,000s, okay? So this here, this is a back split. See how the front, you're going to walk in, you're going to have a kitchen and a living room, and then it splits and goes up at the back where you're going to have the bedrooms, and then it goes down as well where you'll have another living room. Like, these are going to be in the 500s, maybe low 6s, okay? And this is what the neighborhood looks like. So much different than the golf course homes, right? They're much smaller, but it's a nice, safe area, and I think you can get a lot more house for your money than you can in other parts of London. But before you make that decision, you're probably going to want to know about the schools, okay? So let's back out of this. The school for this area is Cleardale, right there, okay? 4.7, so that's below average. So 6, again, is the Ontario average, and they base this score off of province-wide testing. So every grade 3, every grade 6 writes the same test in Ontario. They use those tests, average out the school, give you a ranking. So you're 4.7. We're gonna find worse as we go through this east end of London here. There are schools that are a lot worse. In fact, I went to a school growing up that's got a 1 out of 10 rating from the Fraser Institute. So this is where you got to figure out what that really means for you, and can you afford to get in a different price range or a different school district. So is it going to be a worse experience? Do the teachers care any less? Like, I don't think so. I think what you get is just, they might pull from some areas that are a bit rougher, and you get some rough kids in the area. I definitely went to school with kids that are probably in jail right now. No word of a lie. I turned out okay, but it just depends on who you're hanging out with. And I think that's probably what scares parents the most, is who are they going to be hanging out with at this school. So that's something to consider. It's about to get worse as we go to Lockwood Park. Lockwood Park is this area between Upper Queen Street and Wellington. What's funny is I actually really like some of this area. Like, if you go to Chiddington, okay, you drop a pin here, like, you can get homes in this area that look pretty decent, that are, in the 600s, that have a good amount of house. You know what I mean? Like, this house right here is like that's actually a 2-story. Yeah, you could probably pick that up in the high 6s, and then the lower 6s is like the the split level homes, like the side splits. I'm trying to find a decent one to show you. It's making a liar out of me. Okay, here we go. So here are the side splits where you come in and you get your living room and kitchen here. You got bedrooms up here and then another living room down here in the lower level. You see those lower windows? And these right now, you could probably pick that up for $600, $625, which, you know, in Ontario is a decent price these days for that. And it's wonderful, quiet street. You'll find everyone around here really takes care of their property. The lawns are mowed, the trees are taken care of. Like they decorate for Halloween, they decorate for Christmas. It's a nice little area. And it's literally right across from the hospital, which is kind of nice. However, the school district is not good. All of this area here goes to a different school. Let's find it here. Which one was it? Yeah, it's right here. So this is Sir George Cartier School. It's got a 2.8 out of 10 rating. Listen to me. I don't know why. Like I don't have any more intel for you to tell you like what's going on at that school or where they're pulling from that's so terrible. I don't. It's got a bad rating, okay? Down here, Wilkins Ave and all of this, these are all apartment buildings and townhomes. So these usually aren't really for sale. It's these that are, and then if you come down further down here, it's in the same school district, but down here, you get these streets with no sidewalks, bigger yards, bigger lots, and small homes. And again, these are probably going for high fives, low sixes right now as well. Yeah, I think it's a safe, fine area. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. And that'll be the same school district. So if this information is helpful too about the school districts, like there's 3 in this area and you need some help, feel free to reach out to me. This is what you get when you go with me when you're trying to move to London. I know this place very well. But yeah, for schools, like the best that you're gonna do in the East End is for the public board is on the way in a little bit. We're going to talk about the absolute best performing school in the East End from the public board, okay? Also, there's a school with like a 9.1 rating. We're going to talk about at the end of the video. It's not in the East End, it's in like a little area I forgot to include in my last videos, okay? Also, brand new homes under 800,000. Okay? Anyway, let's continue on. So up next, White Oaks. White Oaks is an interesting area because one of our biggest malls is White Oaks Mall. And this is like, so it's, if you live in London, maybe now that there's Amazon, it's a bit different, but growing up, it was like Christmas time. Like you're making several trips as a family out to the mall, and depending on where you live, it's either gonna be Masonville Mall or it's gonna be White Oaks Mall, because this mall's huge. There's probably like 200-300 stores in this mall, and then everything that you need that isn't in the mall is just going to be right up here on Wellington. Like they got everything here from Mech for camping gear. They've got Indigo for books. They got some nice restaurants like Earl's and Five Guys, the best burger on planet Earth. Okay, and you got Landmark Cinemas as well. So you got a Chopped Steakhouse there as well. So everything you need is right in this little area. Okay, there's Best Buy right here. There's the Jack Astor's around here. There's everything you need. If your budget is like high 4s to, mid 5s, 450 to 550, let's say in London, this is probably a neighborhood you want to look at. It's going to go from White Oaks Road to Wellington and from Southdale down to Exeter. Bradley Ave cuts right through the middle. You're going to find apartment buildings that are all in here and condominiums. So you can get a condo for 300 grand right around here. And then all of these streets right here, these are all essentially the exact same homes built over and over again. They all look the same. So if I drop a pin here, you're going to get back splits and ranches. So this is a ranch. It's a little rectangle, okay, probably 900 square feet. And you could probably pick that up for $550 or less. Okay, the ranches are usually in the low 5s, and then when you start getting some bigger ranches have like an attached garage. Now you're getting into the 600s for those. But yeah, this is an area where most homes are going to sell 500,000 to 600,000, and if you get one that's really out of date, it needs a lot of renovations, you're going to pick it up in the 400s. But that's like a project. Actually, you know what? If you want 400s, if you come over here to like Augusta. You've got you see the semi-detached homes. So these ones usually sell in the high 400s. So if you got 480, 490, you want a decent place to live, this is probably where you're going to end up right here. What I find is the semi-detached homes actually have surprisingly decent-sized bedrooms for you. In a lot of these old homes, like those ranches I was showing you before, like the bedrooms are tiny. Like they're 10 by 10 rooms. The master bedroom's like 10 by 12. They're gonna have like an 8 by 10 room in there if it's a 3-bedroom. Like they're small. But when you buy these, I don't know, it's just how they design them, right? So the middle right here, imagine a line. This is one house, this is another. The bedrooms upstairs, they're all decent, okay? And then you got a living room, kitchen, and then you usually come with a finished basement as well. And you're gonna pay probably high 4s. Yeah, you know what? Let's actually look inside one of these. Let me see if one is sold recently, and I can kind of give you an idea of what you're gonna get for high 4s. So this one here is one that recently sold, actually it was right around that 480 mark. So again, it's a semi-detached, so you're just buying this section right here. You got parking off the side because it's a corner lot. Living room. Okay, it's just laminate flooring. It's nothing crazy like hardwood, but it's an affordable house. The kitchen looks decent. Okay, these are older cabinets, but they look like they're in good shape. There's no obvious wear and tear from the photos. And then when I get to the bedrooms, you'll see what I mean. So that's a double bed. There's a kid's room. There's some space there for a dresser and the closets and a bookshelf. And then this is the little office there, okay? And then this is the basement. So you find this a lot in these homes is to add some extra space, they finish the basement as well. So you're actually getting more space in these semi-detached homes than you are from those detached little ranches, and they're cheaper. So not bad. So if this is the information that you think you need, that you find useful, and you're looking to move here and you don't know the area, you don't know where the good school districts or bad school districts are, you don't know how much you should be paying for a house or what house is gonna fit in your budget, you want the best bang for your buck, this is literally what I do for a living, okay? I help tons of people move to this city every year, and I like helping people. So my phone number is on the screen right there. Feel free to reach out if you're looking to purchase a home in London. I can give you a hand, okay? Call me anytime. My phone's on silent when I'm sleeping, so I won't hear you. You won't wake me. Feel free to reach out, shoot me a text, or give me a call or something, okay? Now, let's go to the big brother of White Oaks, Westminster. So that's White Oaks. Now, I should tell you two things. One about the schools, the other about, so in my video that I had up before about like the worst areas of London, and like gangs I talked about, there used to be like a White Oaks gang. I don't know, it wasn't like a biker gang or anything. It was just like some kids, some hoodlums. That's not there anymore. That doesn't exist. That was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. There's no such thing as a White Oaks gang, and I don't know how serious of a gang they were considered. They were just kids that it was kind of a rough area. It's not that rough anymore. It's not really rough. It's just blue collar and more affordable, and it's right near everything. So in terms of safety, like I give the thumbs up to White Oaks. Like there's no problems here anymore. It's not like some areas we're going to talk about later, but the problem that still persists is the schools. So again, if we come down to Fraser Institute, by the way, .org, okay, scroll in here. These are all the schools in White Oaks, okay? There's one right here that is a 6 out of 10. It's a Catholic school. 6 is exactly average in Ontario. So if you want to move to this area, go to a Catholic school, I think it's a great spot to live. It's close to everything. It's safe. And you're gonna have a decent school to go to, and you're gonna pay, like I said, on the low end, $480. However, every other school in this area, 4.9, 4.2, 4.4, 2.4 at Ashley Oaks. So they're not doing amazing there. Yeah, so most of them are below average. Again, like you'd have to go to the school and talk to the teachers and try and figure out why, but I went to a worse school. Most of these are in the 4s, and same with the one up here on Cleardale we talked about earlier, but that's just something to consider. Now I'm gonna scroll out a bit. I wanna show you something. A little spoiler alert for you. If we scroll through the East End, most of these are gonna have look at the red. Most of these are gonna have a low rating. So in terms of the East End and the Southeast End, that's actually 4.4, not bad. I don't know what's going on the screen. Jeez. All right, you wanna go to like White Oaks' big brother? It's Westminster, okay? So let's go look at Westminster. So right off of Bradley Ave, you've got these neighborhoods right here, and it extends just above Southdale as well. Right here in this area, you have Westminster Ponds. This is like a big park, big nature designated area. You got a couple ponds in here and some woods, and there's like a nice little walking trail. Yeah, so I mean, it's a nice thing to take the kids to. I remember like when I was in school, we used to do a field trip to this area for some reason growing up, and then they would like talk about the wild animals they have there, you know, the rabbits and the beavers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a little nice nature thing to have nearby. In this area, you are going to find homes that are a little bit bigger than the ones over in White Oaks, but it's a very similar area. It's basically the same, just ever so slightly bigger. Okay, now it's kind of making a liar out of me as I drop a pin and show you here, right? Because it's showing me a ranch as the first house that you see. But you're going to find more of these is kind of what I wanted to show you here. So more of these side splits. The tree is kind of blocking our view. But again, so these are the ones where you walk in, you're going to have a living room, kitchen, bedrooms up here, another den down here, and then maybe even another basement level below that where you'll have your furnace and all that stuff. But they're a little bit bigger, a little bit more house for your money. For prices of those right now, you're gonna be around 600, maybe just below, maybe just over, depending on how nice it is. And then ranches, like brick ranches, are still gonna be in the fives. You're gonna be around 550 for this. Or this one right here, or maybe just below. It's got a nice garage in the back. That adds value as well. And then the other thing you have in this area, these are split levels too, remember? These are back splits. So it splits, it splits at the back instead of the side, so there's still a lot of house here, okay? This is a neighborhood where you're paying, you know, $550 to $650 for most homes in this neighborhood. There's also a lot of ranches like we saw over here in White Oaks as well. It's a very similar area, okay? Now, as for the school, let's do it again. Scroll in. What do you see here? We got a few different schools depending on which section you live in. It's all pretty straightforward. We got Nicholas Wilson at 3.8, Wilton Grove 2.3. The Catholic option is at just about 5, so just a little below average, and then Arthur Stringer's 2.6, okay? Okay, so let's talk Glencairn Pond Mills over here, okay? So we did White Oaks, get out of here. White Oaks, Westminster, now we got Glencairn Pond Mills. These are very similar areas tucked into the southeast end. Now, I'll tell you right now, the newest over here, and these are not the new builds I told you about earlier, I'm gonna tell you about in a bit, but these are relatively new, couple years old. There's not even a street view for this yet on Google. These are 2-story, very small homes, like 1,600 square foot, 3 bedrooms. I think there's 2 bathrooms in these homes. You can pick these up in the mid 700s. Okay, now they're very small lots. Like you're talking, like some of these only have 20-foot wide lots. So they're essentially a townhome without someone attached to you. But they're pretty new and they have like granite countertops and they look all nice and shiny. So you can pick up those for that price. Also relatively modern down on Jonathan here. If I drop a pin. So yeah, let's have a look here. So these homes are, you're running like 20 years old, 25 years old at this point. And again, you can pick up these in the, if they're the small ranches, you can get these for high 6s. And then the 2 stories go for a little bit more on top of that. And of course, it depends on how well they've been maintained through the years. Looks like this one's got a nice new metal roof. That's pricey. But yeah, I mean, you're talking into the 7s for something like the 2 stories. Now, some funky stuff is going on with the schools in this area. I'll tell you about in a minute. Let's talk, okay, there are some rough areas here as well in the Glencairn Pond Mills area that I covered in a video that got a lot of hate and love on the worst areas of London. One of them is right off Cleveland. There's these townhomes right here, and I don't know what it is about these townhomes. There's always something, you know, you drive by one day and you just see police kind of in there talking to people, like that's a common occurrence. And then there's also like these dumpsters in here that just, there's always garbage everywhere, all over the parking lot. Sometimes it's like old couches. Sometimes it's just garbage that's been pulled out. Garbage no one put in the bin. It's just strewed about. Like, that's not the greatest. And then over here, okay, Thompson and King Edward. Other people have mentioned on the internet, if you Google it, as a rough place to live. I mentioned it in my video and I got hate for it. People are like, no, it's not that bad. You're just a wimp. And then the next week, a 16-year-old kid from the high school got stabbed right there at this corner, okay? Which kind of like just proves my point. Now, do I think you're going to have, first of all, that was 2023. Has there been a stabbing since? I don't think so. Is it a common everyday occurrence? No. Are you going to get stabbed from walking down the street in the middle of the day here? No, you're not. But I've never hear about stuff like that happening over in like Lambeth or Talbot. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to give you and paint you a real picture of what each area of the city is like. And some people don't like that and they get mad. But you, if you're not from here, you deserve to know this. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to be honest with you. So that's just something to keep in mind. What was I going to show you here? So if you do live in this area, I mean, you can get a house around here in the 400s. Something like this is going to sell. Oh, it just went blurry. Guess they don't want it on Google Street View. But there's homes back in here, the smaller ones that sell in the 4s. Like this would sell in the 4s for sure, maybe 450. And then you do find some brick bungalows that sell, like this one right here, maybe closer into the 5s. But that's just a rough idea of the pricing in the area. And then you got down here in Burlington Crescent. To me, this is completely different of an area than up there. Burlington Crescent, people take care of their homes around here. And if you were to go for a walk, like the lawns are always cut. There's not like weeds growing out of the eavesdrops like you see in some parts of London where people just aren't taking care of their property. These people, they like where they live and they take good care of their homes. And I think there's some pride of ownership here. And down in this area, it's completely different. Now, the school district won't be better, but, and I'll tell you about that in a sec, but in terms of just buying a nice house, I mean, yeah, these are nice houses. Okay, let's do the schools here. I'm going to go over to the Fraser Institute over here, fraserinstitute.org, if you want to know. These are the schools in the area, okay? So the best school is Princess Elizabeth by far. So this has an average rating from the Fraser Institute of 6.2. So 6 is the average across Ontario. So they're doing pretty well, okay? But here's the thing. For English board, or for English programming, there's just a small little section. I'll put it up on the screen. This is the school boundary for English. They're also a French immersion school, and they cover all of this for French immersion, okay? So you're more likely to get in this area if you put your kid in French immersion rather than just the English program. And by the way, that is the best performing public board school in the East End. Right there, 6.2. There's a couple others that are close, but that one's the best. Now, also, you get 5.5 out of 10 for the Catholic board. That's not terrible. Again, 6 is average. It's usually St. Sebastian hovering around average, okay? And then you have C.C. Carruthers down here. This is going to be the main English public board school for the Glencairn area. It covers all of this that you see on your screen, okay? This has a 2 out of 10 rating from the Fraser Institute, so not fantastic. And then down below Commissioners Road, down here, this is the Pond Mills area, and they have a school called Glencairn, and it's got 2.3 out of 10, so it's more of the same. Now, before I move on from Pond Mills area, just a positive note is again, you got Pond Mills, literally the ponds down here, and Westminster Ponds over here, and it's all connected through walking trails. So again, London's great for nature. There's nature everywhere. And we're actually going to tell you about a big forested area coming up in a little bit, like literally next, okay? That's also really cool. But yeah, no, this is nice that you have this nearby. Get you out of the city, into the trees, the ponds, the nature. You can walk around. Actually, I remember being a kid, we'd go on field trips to Westminster Ponds from school. And they would just like have us like look for nature, animals. We'd be like, oh, we got to find a rabbit. Got to find a beaver. We never found a beaver. But yeah, it's a nice little area. Okay, up next, let's go over here. This is Jackson, okay? This area is much newer. than what we just looked at. It's like a lot of this was like the 1960s built homes. The oldest homes in this area were built like late 90s, like 98, 99, right? So you're under 30 years old for most of this entire area called Jackson. And then do you see right over here, like Hobbs and Honeywood? Is there street view? No. So these are all brand new. And this is an area where you can pick up a brand new detached home for under $800,000. So this is what I'm talking about right here. So this is an artist's drawing of a house that's currently in pre-construction that you could buy for around the 750 mark. Okay, now it's not huge. It's 1,700 square feet, okay? But it's your own brand new detached 2-story home. It's got 4 bedrooms. It's got a couple bathrooms in it. And it's gonna have all the modern fixings. It's gonna have, you can see here, if you look at it's got a walk-in closet. It's got an ensuite off the primary bedroom. These aren't things you're getting in those other homes that were built in the 60s. So there's a whole bunch of those in this area. Between that, I mean, you're not gonna get lower than 750, if I'm honest with you. And then they go up to $1 million or just over in this area. Everything else in this area is gonna be in the 6s and 700,000, some in the 800,000s. And I can tell you, and I will tell you, you're getting more house for that amount of money than almost anywhere else in Ontario and in London, okay? So if you want a 25-year-old home for $800,000, the biggest place you're gonna get it is right here. So let me just drop a pin on like Green Gables. So this is what they look like right here. So these are standard detached 2-story, I'm gonna say that's 1,900, 2,000 square feet, kind of in that range. And I bet you can pick this up for $750 right now. Like, you're not gonna do that anywhere else. In fact, you know what they look a lot like? Hold on. Hold the phone. If we go out and we go to Riverbend, which is a much more expensive area, and we drop a pin on Riverbend Road, and we look around, is this the right spot? They look a lot like these, don't they? These might be like a couple hundred square feet bigger. Maybe these are 22, 23, but these are $1 million. And the ones we just looked at were $750 probably. So that's, you know, if budget is the name of the game, this is not a bad place to be. A couple other benefits of this area, and then we're gonna talk about this up here in a sec, but is Citywide Sports Park right here. This is actually a really cool sports park that you have access to in your area that, like, I don't know anywhere else in London where there's one this cool. Like, this is, I got some drone footage of this, like this giant football field with painted end zones, and the yard markers on the field is really cool. I don't know where else you're finding that. There's baseball diamonds. I think there's tennis courts around here as well. And of course they double as a soccer field. So if your kids are in football or soccer or baseball, I mean, you can walk to their game right there. The other big benefit is Meadow Lily Woods right here. So does the map show it all that well? Not really. All up here, all stretching down into here, is walking trails all along the Thames River. And it's like legit, like, I don't know, 5-10 kilometers up and down through the hills. Like, it's legit, like, in the woods walking trails. It's a really nice area to just go for a hike. So you do have some nature nearby, and you have some good parks down in here as well. Like, you got Carroll Park right here. Huge open green spaces. You have some pickleball courts down here and tennis courts. Yeah, and then down here as well. Like, they're actually everywhere. There's actually a ton of parks in this Jackson area. By the way, this whole area is like called Summerside. And then this is like Jackson in Summerside, but yeah, and as you can tell from the satellite view, so these are the new areas, and then over here as well. If you need more information on some of these homes and some of the school districts around here, this is what I do for a living. I can help point you in the right place that's the best for you. My job is to help people move to the London area, and I'm really good at it, okay? So if you need some help, I like talking to people, I like helping people. My phone number is right there on the screen. You can shoot me a text or you can give me a call, and we can just kind of take it from there. Because I'm gonna know where to put you. Like, I know this city very well. Like, if you want new build under 800,000, bam, this is a good spot. There's also a spot over in Lambeth in here where you might get a detached close to 800, probably not under. But if you want under, where we just were up here is the spot, man, right there. Hobbs Drive, Honeywood. That's what you're talking about. So anyway, that's my phone number. Give me a call if you need some more help, okay? Now we need to talk about the schools before we move on. So a few years ago, they built this wonderful school. Where is it on the map here? We're gonna find it. We're gonna pull it up here, okay? Summerside Public School, okay? It's right here. Summerside Public School. This is a beautiful, brand new school, and guess what? Oh, this satellite view predates the school. I'll see if I can find a photo of it. But it's a brand new school, and guess what? It opened over capacity. There's such a demand, and this area was growing so quickly that it's full. So if you move to this area now, this is actually very important for you to understand before you purchase a home here. If you move to this area right now, you will not get to go to that school, which has like a 5.6 rating out of 10. Like it's not bad. For the East End, it hovers around the average point, okay? I'll pull it up right here. If we go down here, okay, Summerside, 5.6 out of 10. Okay, that's one of the better public board schools in the East End. In fact, I think that's the second best in the entire East End. But instead, they're going to send you to J.P. Robarts as a holding school right now because there's not enough room at the Summerside School. That's Lord Nelson. J.P. Robarts is a 2.6 out of 10. So it is a drastically different school than the one in your neighborhood. They're going to bus your kids all the way out there. So just something to keep in mind. I am not aware of when the next school will be built. Like, I don't even know if there's plans in the works right now. So I think it'll be a while that you're going to J.P. Robarts. But anyway, this is the kind of information that rolls around in my head all day, every day. Schools, prices, where's a good area, where's it rough, where's it nice. If you need help finding a spot in London, again, you can feel free to reach out, okay? Let's move on. Up next, we've got Victoria on the Thames. This little block of homes off Hamilton and Commissioners before you get up over the river, okay? This area is pretty new as well. I mean, you're talking 10, 15 years old in this area, and you get a few different things. One of them is townhomes. Okay, so do you see Kettering Place right here? Again, Google Maps is not up to date, but there's some pretty new townhomes all along here that you can pick up in the 500,000 and 600,000 mark. There's some parks around here, and then some pretty affordable detached homes as well. And then for detached, like if you go down here to Doyle, okay, we just drop a pin on Doyle, like you're getting these homes in the 700,000 range, and they're pretty new. Some of them will go into the 800s, but you get a 2-car garage, you get 2,000 square feet, you get under 5 years old, and you're 750 to 850 for most of these. So that's not bad. And then it's really nice that you've got like, again, Meadow Lily Trail all through here. It extends on each side of the river as well. So there's a bit of the trail over here, and then all through here you can walk on hiking trails, and you have access to it through these streets here. Now, do you see over here, over Oriole Drive, like all around here? So these are new builds as well, and they're going to be a lot like the other ones we showed you in Jackson. It's going to be pretty much the same. They are a little bit more money, but like this is another example. It's 800,000 or just under. It's like 795. It's a little bit bigger. It's like 1,900 square feet. But again, it's new detached homes on 30-foot wide lots that you can pick up for around 800,000, all in this area. So again, if you want new and you want detached, and that's like your main category, you need to be looking in Summerside area where there's Jackson and Victoria on the Thames. So again, we're looking right here and right here, okay? Okay, let's hop over north of the river here, okay? I gotta pick this up, or this is gonna be like a 3-hour video, okay? So I'll try and go a little bit quicker. First of all, Hamilton and Clark Road right here. These are oft forgot about streets that actually might be a nice little spot to live. There's been literally 0 that have sold in the last while, so I don't have any price points to look at recently, but they're likely going to be similar to what we're going to see over in like the Classic Drive area, which I'll show you in a sec. But it's a nice little quiet street. No one's going down these streets except for the people that live there. Like this is just sort of like tucked away. and I imagine it's a pretty safe area as well. I never hear of any shenanigans going on down in this area. What you're getting is little bungalows and back splits with a one-car garage. I mean, you're probably in the $500,000-$600,000 range for these. Yeah, I wouldn't have any qualms about living in this area. And then even once you get up here, see this little triangle here? So there is, we'll talk about East Park too in a sec, but there's some rougher spots up here I'll tell you about in a second. But down here, I don't think that there's any problems living down here at all in terms of crime or safety or anything like that. Classic Drive, yeah, Quail Ridge, all kind of around here. You get homes that are, 20, 30 years old. I mean, some of these are a little bit older than that, but again, they're pretty quiet. In this area, you're going to pick up homes in the mid 500s to the mid 600s, depending on the size, depending on the age. There's, like this right here is probably something, this is a back split, as you can see, 2-car garage, mostly brick, depending on how nice it is inside, something like that in this area is going to go around the 650 range. And then more like this, this is probably down, in the 550 range. Okay, so that's Classic Drive over here. And then we go up to Fairmont area here. So this is where you see Tweedsmuir Avenue. And again, if you watch my videos in the past, I'm for the East End. I'm big on this area. This is filled with, again, those starter homes, those brick ranches. This one looks like it might have a little half story on top, but again, you're in the 500,000 range. You're in the 550. That's a semi, but yeah, stuff like this. You can pick up a home that's 1,000 or 1,100 square feet, has a detached garage, and you're going to get it in the low 500s, which is not a bad starting point for a lot of people, price-wise. We're going to talk about an area a little later on that is probably going to put you in a bit of better school district for around the same price. But to each their own. This is a nice little area as well. The schools, though, like I said, throughout. So this is the Tweedsmuir area right here. So you got St. Bernadette, the Catholic school, it's a 2 out of 10. And then you've got the Tweedsmuir school as the public board, 2.8. Again, you're going to see that all throughout. This is Ealing. That has a 2.5. You're going to see that all throughout most of the East End. Let's actually talk about this area real quick here, okay? So, this is, okay, you ever hear the phrase ham and eggs in London? That's referring to Hambleton Road and Egerton Road right here. And this looks rough. Even from like the drone footage or the drive-by footage, you see buildings with a ton of spray paint on them. You see boarded up buildings. You see it just looks a little bit more grungy. That's this area between Adelaide and Highbury Avenue right here. And this is probably one of the most affordable places in the city you can get a detached home. Like, you can get them in the 300s if you want to live in this area. However, the crime is a little bit higher in this area. Like, this is the kind of place where you might, come outside and your car window's smashed and someone grabbed change, or so the bike was taken from your backyard, stuff like that. Just petty crime that, is not fun to deal with. But it is one of the cheapest places you can get a house in London. Yeah, I think that part's a little rough. Now, if we go up to Trafalgar Heights, this is an interesting spot. So, you see Marconi right here, at Trafalgar and Clark Road, right here. This spot, it used to end right past Noel. So right around here was a dead end. And this was called Cascade. And this was a really rough spot back in the 90s or the 80s, even in the early 2000s. Like, there's always police just hanging out in and around these townhome complexes here because there's always something going down. People have commented on my other videos when I talk about this area, about the rough stuff they've seen. So this spot right here, sometimes they have semi-detached and stuff that's for sale, but it is a bit rough. However, then they built all down Marconi, all down here, and they built all this in the 2000s, okay? And I think this is much different, okay? So if you live over here on, like, Bournemouth, let's just drop a pin, all right? So these are much newer. These are, like, 25 years old, and you just don't have the same issues over here. You don't have all that police presence. You don't have all that shenanigans going on. It's a much quieter, safer spot to be. And you can pick up a home around here for a pretty decent price. And you know what's cool too? It's kind of close to the 401 because you're gonna come out right here on Gore Road to Veterans Memorial and scoot right down to the 401 right here. It does not take long. So if you're someone that's gonna be using the highway a lot, going up to Toronto or back, Kitchener, whatever, this is not bad location-wise. I want to show you this as an example of what you can get in the area. So this is a back split, so it's a little bit more room than it looks like on the front, but we got an attached garage, and then pretty clean and nice inside. I mean, it's definitely like 25 years old aesthetic-wise, but it's not bad. Like this was taken care of pretty well. Kitchen's clean and decent, okay? And then we go down to the living room downstairs. Okay, we're gonna show the bedrooms here first. I know I'm flipping through kind of quick here, but yeah, then you got an extra little living room down here. So you got 2 living rooms, another bathroom down there, and then a 4th level with another bedroom in it, okay? So that's something that sells around the 625 mark, and that's a lot of this area. You're gonna be, again, 550 to 650. Some of the 2 stories might be a little bit more, higher 6s, low 7s, but this is not a bad area. If you wanna go really cheap, okay, if you come down, see Marconi Gate that connects to Bournemouth and Marconi here. If you come down here, you got townhomes here and here. These will sell in the 400s. And as far as I can tell, it's pretty safe. They're pretty well taken care of. This would be my choice in that price range. And again, it's close to the 401. Like a lot of places in London, when you're in the 400s, it's not a great area. This, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with this area in terms of safety or anything like that. And if we look through, you know, I showed you earlier in this video a townhome complex that had like garbage strewn about everywhere. Like that's not something you get in this area. Let me scoot in here. Yeah, see? I mean, they're fine little townhomes, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing crazy going on here. So that would be my pick in that price range in the 400s, okay? Now let's go back to this view. If you go up here in Trafalgar Heights, like Bancroft, Holgate, all that stuff, it's a little bit older. Like if I drop on Burnside here, like what you're gonna find is again, those brick ranches from like the 60s. Yeah, and they're varying degrees of in need of renovation. Some are really nice and completely renovated and sell for $550. Some of these are in the high 4s and need renovations. It all just depends on the house. We're going to talk about a street that was labeled one of the worst streets in London on the way, as well as some other spots that really aren't too bad in the East End and have some pretty decent schools that you might want to consider. We'll start here. So this is Nelson Park. So we just talked Trafalgar Heights. Above that is Nelson Park. This is where you're going to have Argyle Mall, which is your main mall in the area. You got your Walmart, you got Staples, you got, I think, Winners in there, whole bunch of stuff, Canadian Tire, there's a Fit for Less, all in this area. You got Clark Road High School around here too. And then all back here is a lot of homes. It's not drastically different than what you see in Trafalgar Heights. It's relatively similar. Couple things. If you go down Wavell, down here you also get slow internet apparently. You also get a lot of townhomes in here, which again are going to sell in the mid to high 4s most of the time. And that's not a bad option either. Off here, you're right in behind Argyle Mall and all the stuff you need. Your walking distance from the high school right there, Clark Road, and your walking distance from, where is it? From Lord Nelson Public School too. So right there. I mean, you're walking distance from everywhere, which is not bad. And then just to give you an example of what the homes are like. The price points aren't changing, by the way, as we go through this East End all that much. I'm going to keep saying the same things over again. These are going to sell in the low 5s. You know what I mean? They're brick ranches. Some of them are in great shape. Some of them need renovation. Prices will vary, but this is the kind of home you're getting all through this area. If you've noticed, it hasn't drastically changed in price from White Oaks to Westminster to Trafalgar Heights to Nelson Park. That size of home in the East End is roughly the same price everywhere. Now, yeah, I've showed it before, by the way. School, So in this area, for Trafalgar Heights, it was JP Robarts, 2.6 out of 10. You got Holy Family is the Catholic option at 5.1. And then Lord Nelson up here was a 3.4 in Nelson Park. And there's also Bonaventure Meadows at 2.2. It's all roughly the same, but I want to move over across Clark Road and talk about the Wavell area over here, okay? So they've got East Lyons Community Center here, which is a really nice community center to have nearby. When I was a kid, this was just like one outdoor park, right where this parking lot was an outdoor pool right there. They've now moved the pool inside. They've got a huge soccer field out here. They've got pickleball courts and tennis courts out here and some basketball courts, kids play gym. And yeah, even just to have the indoor pool is really cool. Oh, they got an indoor gym too. They've really sunk a lot of money into this nearby. So that's really cool to have nearby on the East End. The homes around here. So I personally believe that south of Wavell down here is nicer than the north of Wavell up here. And I'll tell you why. One of the reasons is Hilton Ave right here. When I did a video about the worst areas of London, a lot of people were commenting like, hey, Hilton Ave, a lot of stuff goes on there. Not great. And this is Hilton Ave just to give you a visual of what it looks like. There's always police in here dealing with stuff. Like this isn't the best area right here. And then all kind of around here, you get small homes. I will say, like the prices are cheaper here. Like you can pick up pretty much every house in this area. Where's the street view, man? Come on. I'm trying to show you. There we go. Most of these are actually in the 400s. So the brick ones, again, are going to be higher than the vinyl sided ones, which you'll see a lot. But, you know, you're talking mid to high 400s for a lot of these. I see some that need renovation sell in the high 3s, to be honest with you. But Edmonton, Calgary, Manitoba, Winnipeg, Vancouver, all named after Canadian cities, all near East Lyons Park, and all pretty affordable. Now, south of Wavell, you're getting a lot more of the brick ranches and just a lot less shenanigans going on around. Do you know what I mean? My perception here of this area south of Wavell is that there's just less crime and there's a little bit more pride of ownership. People take care of their homes a little bit more. And you start to see, a lot more brick bungalows from the 1960s, detached garages added in the back. It's just a nicer vibe walking down these streets than north of Wavell. Now, moving on from here, we're going to work our way up to Fanshawe College, okay? So Dundas Street is like a very busy main road through London, okay? This is like 2 lanes plus turning lanes in each direction. Once you go north of this, again, you've got small little homes. They look like the post-wartime homes, the vinyl siding. Some of them are really well taken care of them. Some of them need work. It's going to be more of the same in the East End. You're going to get these in the 400s for the most part, okay? Now, if you come up 2nd Street, then you get to Fanshawe College. So if you're a student looking for a place to live or you're looking to buy your kid a place, you want to know what's best around Fanshawe College, my personal preference is Huron Heights. So if I highlight Huron Heights, it's showing you all up in this area, including Fanshawe College down here, okay? A lot of students, actually, so Fleming Drive was famous, okay, for having all these crazy parties back when I was in college. In fact, the SWAT teams were called out a lot of the times because parties got out of hand. People came down from other cities. They were nuts. Like there was fires that kids started. That was like party central. The police have really tampered that down a lot, but just a heads up, that's kind of what the area was known for. I obviously don't go to Fanshawe College anymore, and I haven't seen anything in the news. I'm not driving around there looking for parties, so I have no idea if it's still crazy, but this is mainly a student area right here. It's right beside the college, too. More quieter is if you come up here, okay, just north over Cheapside. You get Mark, Irving, you get Susan, you get Godfrey. A lot of students live in this area and it's a lot quieter. It's less of that party central, okay? So you're gonna find in here a couple things. So They're all mostly going to be these brick ranches. Some of them are going to be made for students or renovated for students. So they'll have like an entrance on the main floor and then in the back an entrance to an apartment in the basement so you can rent them both out. So if you're an investor, that's an option that you can do with a lot of these because a lot of them have a back door and stairs going right down. So that's a possibility for you there. But even if, I know some families that live in this area and it's really not bad. And in terms of the school, now, let's talk about the schools. So there is a difference here in the schools between the part that's north of Huron Street and south of Huron Street, okay? So Chippewa Public School, if we go over to the Fraser Institute, covers this northern part above Huron Street. It's got a 5.5 rating out of 10. That is one of the better public board schools in the East End. And then you're also going to have a French Catholic at 6.9. That's obviously the best one. And then the Catholic board school at 5.4. Okay, if you're just sticking to the public board schools and you're down here in this area I was just talking about, your school's Evelyn Harris, which is a 3.4. So it's not quite as good as north of Huron Street. Now, let's have a look at what some of them look like here, north of Huron Street. So you will still find more of those brick bungalows, but also some different styles, some back splits like this with attached 2-car garage. And there are some 2 stories as well, if I can find them here, like this one right here. This one right here, and they're going to sell for a little bit more money. Let's look at them right here. So this one right here is built in the early 90s. This sold for $600,000. It's not huge. It's like 1,700 square feet, but it's your own detached 2-story home for like 600 grand, okay? Like it's not gonna be amazing flooring inside, like this is old linoleum, you know what I mean? But the kitchen's clean, it's nice, it's livable. For 600 grand, that's not bad. Guess who's gonna update their internet soon? Me, this is ridiculous. Look at that living room, eh? Like that's actually really nice for $600,000. And again, as far as East End schools go, this is one of the better public board schools. It's a 5.5 out of 10. So Huron Heights, I still say is one of the better spots in the East End if you're looking to buy a home. So let me go back here. Again, Huron Heights is right here. So from Fanshawe College up to Kalele, all around here. By the way, over here, like off Kalele, these are going to be much newer. These were just built like a couple years ago. So if I drop a pin, so these look a lot like the ones that you saw down in Summerside. Do you remember that? These are detached, 30-foot wide lots, 2-story homes that are going to be 1,600 to 1,800 square feet for the most part. What's crazy and frustrating is these were selling for like $950,000 to $1 million when they were brand new, or back in like 2022. Now you can get them for like $750,000. Okay, so that's there in the Kalele area of Huron Heights. We're not going to do north of this river because remember I covered that in the first video that I did covering North London, okay, where I talked about Cedar Hollow as a pretty affordable spot with an amazing school. So that's something to consider there. Okay, now if we come down here to this box, this is the Carling area right here. So it's, I think Google Maps is wrong to be honest with you. So it's highlighting all the way down here into like Old East Village almost for Carling. And it's excluding this spot. I would call Carling from the river all the way down Cheapside, probably to Oxford. This, in my brain, is what Carling is, and I think it's what a lot of people consider Carling. On the way, by the way, we're going to talk about like the best school, 9.1 out of 10, one of the best schools in London on the way. First, though, let me finish this. So Carling's interesting because some streets are fine, like they're nice. There are people that live there really like it. It's quiet, it's safe, and then there's other streets that are kind of known for being rough, okay? So if we come down here, this first part of Carling, from like the wooded area where the river is down to Huron, some of these spots are fine. Like if I go down here under Ridgeview, so if you look right here, you're gonna go up from Kipps Lane, all up here, you got Briar Hill, you got Ridgeview. These homes are like 20 years old, and you can get a detached 2-story in here for, I mean, you can pick up these for $600,000 to $700,000. Which is really not bad. And in terms of safety, I don't think you have any issues. This is a nice little area of Carling Heights. that I can't complain about. That's a nice spot. However, Kipps Lane itself has been known for a while as a rough spot. What they're referring to is if you go down Kipps Lane to the Kipps Lane apartments all around here, this is where every once in a while you'll see in the news, you know, police are doing a stakeout on some guy and there's some stuff going on in there. That's not the best area, but in terms of getting away from those apartments and back into these streets, there's really nothing wrong with that. And then if you go down here, what you're gonna find is again, it's a lot of the same thing in East London in terms of the style of homes. So you're getting these little back splits that were built in the early 90s, late 80s. And these are going to sell around 600, maybe high 500s. And then what you will find on some of these streets, those brick bungalows that I've been showing you this whole video, and those are going to sell, again, around the $500,000 mark. In terms of parks, it's kind of nice. So you got the Ed Blake Park right down here, which is pretty big. A lot of stuff for kids, a splash pad, all that, basketball nets. Then you can follow the path all the way up to Kalele Valley Park up here, which again is a little bit of nature along the Thames River. Again, you have this stuff everywhere in London, and it's one of the big benefits of living in London. It's just you're always close to nature, okay? So that is the northern part over here on. If you come down here, again, most of this, I knew a guy from college that lived in this area. It was a really nice street. However, and again, just drive through some of these streets and have a look around. Like it's really not bad. They're nice little quiet streets for the most part. You know what I mean? Like you buy a house in here. Look at these people. They love Halloween. I love it. It's a charming little area with small little homes that you're going to pick up in the 400s, some of these. You know what I mean? So the ones that are like the vinyl sided and they're 1.5 stories, smaller ones, these are in the 400s. And that can be a nice little home for you. The only complaint I have is just every once in a while there's like this little pocket of rough stuff. And I've mentioned before Boo So if you come up Boo there's these Boo townhomes right here. These are always rough. Like there's always police in here. There used to be like a Boo gang in the area. I don't know how much to tell you. I mean, there has been some stories about if you just pay attention to the news. You know, in fact, one of the things people got mad at me about in that video on the rough areas when I mentioned this street was I shared a news article about a woman who was killed in her house in this area. And then people got mad at me, but I'm just sharing the news, man. Like these apartment buildings in and around Boo, not apartments, these townhomes are a pretty rough area. But again, you know, I've known people that lived over here and they got a great, they're like, I've never had a problem. It's absolutely fantastic. So I think that's just part of the East End for you. You know what I mean? For schools, over here, so near around Kipps Lane, you got two. You got North Bray at a 3.8 out of 10, and then you've got Hillcrest at 4.8. And for Catholic option, you got St. Anne's as well that covers a large part of this area. South of Huron Street, Lord Elgin, 2 out of 10, and you can see all the red dots here. These are all the lows, Sir John A. Macdonald, Knollwood Park. I don't know if Bishop Townsend, I don't know if the school districts really matter to show you because these are all basically the same score down in and around here in Huron Heights. All right, so from Carling, let's actually work our way down to Old East Village. So this right here is a sad story. It's unfortunate, really, because this is an area that I covered in a recent kind of vlog-style video I did called Would You Live Here? Exploring London Streets. And I looked at a bunch of different neighborhoods. This is one of them. This is one of the most, like, charming little areas in London, but it also is filled with homeless people doing drugs in the middle of the street. So it's sad. Now, those homeless people usually stick to Dundas Street, right through here, okay? However, like it's right around the corner from these houses right here. These are historic old homes in the city of London. They have a lot of charm, a lot of character. In fact, if you walk down the street and you look at some of them, they'll have actually a plaque on the wall on the outside of the building that says who first lived there. So it'll be like, oh, John Dory, the carpenter in 1880. You know what I mean? Which is really cool. A lot of people too I also like that, by the way, that they're not like cookie cutters. You know what I mean? They're all a little bit different. In this area, you can get homes for $450 into the mid fives. The only downside to this area is the homeless people around the corner. And it's not just like, you know how like downtown in every city there's like a homeless guy who's just kind of curled up in a blanket, not bothering anybody? That's not the homeless I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the ones that are like shooting heroin in the middle of the street, in the middle of the day. Like, it's not great down here. It really is not. But it's sad because you also see like the homeowners there, a lot of them take really good care of it. And they'll have like front yard gardens that you'll see, which is really cool. And you know that like strip of grass between the sidewalk and the road? Like even that, they like turn into a garden. Like it's just such a really cool area. As you can see from some of this footage, like it's very charming. It's just the only downside is the rough stuff just around the corner. It's too bad that it wasn't like that growing up, to be honest with you. I mean, like Old East Village has never been like super nice. It's always been like close to downtown, so there's a little bit of grunge there, but it was never like it is now down Dundas Street up until recently. But that's everywhere in Ontario right now. Unfortunately, every single person in every city of Ontario I've talked to has said to me, oh my gosh, in Peterborough, the homeless is so bad. In Kitchener, in St. Catharines, in Sarnia, everywhere, because it's just gotten worse everywhere. But anyway, so that's Old East Village in a nutshell. If you want, you can get a house from $450 to $550, kind of in that range. And it is charming, but you know, there's it's a little rough as well. Okay, let's back out of this. Now we need to talk about North London, okay? Because I missed this in my last video because I was sticking north of the Thames River. This is technically called Old North. On the map, they say North London. It's called Old North. So it's just north of downtown. So you're going to look at Oxford and Richmond right here, and you're going to go north of this up to the river and over as far as Adelaide. This is Old North. This is really unique area because this is as old as Old East Village. Like, you're talking homes from the 1800s here, but it's really nice. In this area, you get a lot of like doctors, hospital staff, surgeons, you get Western University staff, and there's a wide price range. Like, you can get a house for $650 or you can get a house for $2 million, okay? If I drop a pin on here, like Waterloo and Victoria, like kind of around here, that's right by Old North Public School, which, by the way, has a 9.1 rating out of 10. This is one of the best elementary schools in Ontario right there. So if we kind of look around, you see the old style of homes. These are large, mammoth, two-story homes that are brick. They're well over 100 years old, but if they've been kept up, they're really nice. In fact, I think the best thing to really do to give you the vibe of what these homes are like is to show you inside some of them that have sold. So let's do that. Okay, I'm gonna start like super expensive to show you like the best of the best, and then we're gonna go down to something like more affordable, okay? So this right here is a house in Old North that just sold for over $2 million, okay? This is what it looks like from the outside. It's very charming. It has a very large lot, by the way. I don't know if you can tell that from the photos. It's got this detached garage. I'm just gonna shut up a little bit here and flip through the photos and let you look. One thing you'll notice right away, that I guess I'm not shutting up, am I? One thing you'll notice right away is that they've updated the floors while still having them be historic. So this is pine that they reclaimed from a 120-year-old barn and refinished it and put this down for the flooring, which is just, it looks fantastic, and it keeps the vibe of this super, super old but beautiful home. That's an expensive stove. I don't know if you like to cook or not, but that's a nice stove in there. But yeah, it's about 1/3 of an acre. They still got a wood-burning fireplace, which is impossible to find on homes these days. Giant master bedroom. Holy cannoli. Now let me show you something a little bit more affordable. I'm going to show you two more. So this here is one that sold around the $750 mark. So a little bit more reasonable, a little bit more doable. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in Old North with a beautiful cherry blossom up front. Look at that. But as you can see, like this house has character. Like this isn't like a modern cookie cutter. You know what I mean? So you could categorize like Wortley Village, Old North, and Old East in the same pile in terms of, although they're very different, but in terms of just age of home and character. Like this is crazy. I don't know if you like this or not. I kind of do. It's very old wallpaper to make it look like it's like from the 1800s, but it is from the 1800s. They've really strived to keep that old world charm with a few tasteful updates. Yeah, but anyway, this is something that's sold for around the $750 mark. So this is not as crazy as expensive as the other one, but this is what you can get in Old East Village for that price. I am gonna go cheaper as well here, okay? So this is another house. This sold for just under $600, $595. Now this only has a 2-bedroom and 2-bathroom home, but so that does limit it a little bit. But again, they've taken care of it. You can tell right here, this roof, this is a metal roof, man. These are like 100-year guarantee roofs. And they're very, very expensive to put on your house, but you'll never have to change it again in your lifetime. The order of pictures is a little weird here, but yeah, no, this is a nice little living room, again with the fireplace. That's actually wood burning. I don't know if it's actually in use or not, but yeah, I just want to give you an idea. So this is just under 600,000. This is the kind of thing you can find in Old North. You're close to downtown as well. So that's the other thing. So one of like Old North attracts somebody who doesn't necessarily want the suburban lifestyle. They don't want to live way out in the county either. They're like, that's a rural lifestyle. They want to kind of live near downtown in something with a lot of history and charm and be close to everything. So if you're up here in Old North, like Richmond Row is our main downtown. It starts right here, Oxford and Richmond, and it goes all down here. This is where all the shops and restaurants are. This is where the Grand Theatre is. This is where some of the fanciest restaurants in London are, like the Church Keys around here and David's Bistro. And then Canada Life Place is right here, and this is where the London Knights play, and this is where a lot of concerts are held, right here. So you're close to everything. It's not a long drive. In fact, you could probably even walk if you really wanted to. But yeah, and then you also got Gibbons Park right nearby, and I mean, Western University, if you work there, super close. So that's Old North. And like I said, the elementary school, bam, 9.1 for the public board school. It's labeled as Ryerson here. They recently changed the name to Old North, but it's out of 3,021 schools in Ontario, this was number 77. So, I mean, that's fantastic, to be honest with you. Also in the area, you got St. Michael, which is a Catholic board school, doesn't do quite as well. And then down here, St. George's covers, I believe it's under Cheapside. Let me double check on this for you. So from my understanding, you know what, let me just check on it again before I just start blabbing. Yeah, okay, so this is the school district. So this is St. George Public School, which again is not bad. Like this has a 7 rating, so that is above average in Old North, and it's gonna cover, if I can zoom in here on the streets, so find Cheapside, so down around Cheapside, all the way down to Oxford, and actually south of Oxford as well, okay? Kind of getting really close to downtown there. And then above this is covered all up here by Old North Public School, which has a 9.1 rating out of 10. So even if you're down here, you're still in a great school district. It's above average, but up here, I mean, you're 9.1. It's a great area, okay? All right, I think I'll stop it there. So that is my last installment of all of London, Ontario Explained. I'm sure there's a couple streets or nooks and crannies that I forgot in there, but this is 3 videos, over an hour. Are you still watching, by the way? It's like been over an hour. you should go outside. You should call a friend, okay? You gotta have better things to do than listen to me blab. Anyway, yeah, if you need any more information about this kind of stuff, feel free to reach out to me. This is literally what I do for a living, okay? I know this city very well, as you just saw. So if you're looking to purchase a home and you need an agent to help you, that's what I do for a living. So feel free to give me a call, okay? I'll see you next week.